About a decade ago, the executives at the American corporation known as Netflix got really fucking smart. They got so fucking big brain. They looked around at the US audience and realized there's this little market of people known as weeaboos who would be willing to shell out if they just got some anime on their platform. And so what they realized is they could go to Japan, pay literally pennies for these cartoons, put it on their platform, and make these weeaboos really fucking happy. So they did just that. They, made a huge profit, made, lots of value off of putting this anime on their platform, and it had an unintended effect. A lot of people who were not weeaboos got exposed to this content on Netflix and became weeaboos. It basically started this huge snowball effect where you had, you had people coming on the platform watching anime, wanting more anime. Netflix would go to Japan, take some more anime out of Japan jail, put it on their platform, and the process just continued. Like, recently, we even got Evangelion out of Japan jail on the Netflix platform. It's really awesome, So, completely by accident, Netflix has been the mechanism of anime growth in the West. At least this is my theory. Netflix has been causing anime growth in the West kind of by accident. It's literally gotten to the point recently where Netflix isn't happy just getting old anime onto their platform. They decide, no, we want Netflix exclusive anime. So they have this whole slew of titles, like Cyberpunk Edge Runners was one of them. They have Beastars as well, Blood of Zeus, a whole bunch of anime titles that they've just commissioned and have on their platform, which I think is, honestly, that's really good because it's Western money going to pay for anime, going to pay animators. I think that's a good thing. The problem is Netflix still hasn't had enough. They're still, greedy, even though they're the kings of anime up in the joint. They want more money because they're a big American company. Of course they do. So what do? They do the most rational thing anybody would fucking think of. Live action anime adaptations, which is like a big naughty word. That's like a sin to like actual anime fans, right? Over the next 3 years, Netflix is slated to spend $500 million, that's billion with a B, $500 million on live action anime adaptations. And they have a whole slate of anime picked out that they're going to try to adapt. They're doing Sword Art Online, Death Note, as if they didn't fucking learn their lesson with Death Note the first time when they tried to make a movie out of it. They're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, okay, that's not an anime, but it basically is for the purposes of this video. And then One Piece, which comes out later this year, right? And it just sort of begs the question, why? Why are they doing this? Because the only precedent we have for live action anime adaptations are, okay, there's the Death Note movie, absolute fucking stinker that was. They had the Cowboy Bebop series, which was, woo, that was a bomb. And then, the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, which was I think it's the worst movie ever made. There is literally no precedent for an anime project, live action adaptation succeeding. There's none. So it begs the question, why go to the lengths of spending all this money on something that's likely going to fail? On top of that, like just the amount of money they're spending on this shit, it's like their choice of anime that they're adapting is kind of weird in my mind. Because, okay, look at Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop is a fairly straightforward anime in that the characters are all human beings. They're all, pretty grounded in terms of like their abilities. They're not like cyborgs or anything. It's it's set in space, which is a little goofy, but it's a pretty grounded show when it comes to anime. It's pretty tame. They couldn't get that to fucking work, so they're going to try adapting One Piece, a show where all the characters have different colors of hair, they wear goofy-ass costumes, the main character is a literal fucking rubber band, he's a noodle, his punches are like, boing, boing, like with goofy-ass sound effects. Like, there's Buggy the Clown who has like parts detaching from him. So, my question is, do they really think that One Piece is going to succeed as a show? It's not. There's no fucking way, because what they have to do, what Netflix has to do to make this successful looking at it, they have this whole formula there. It's like money spent over watch hours. They have to get enough watch hours to make the money they spend worth their while, right? That's how Netflix operates. They're a company. They're trying to always meet that bottom line. In order to make the amount of money they're spending $10 million an episode, by the way. So that's a lot of money. That's like a third of what they spend on Stranger Things. That's a lot of money, right? They're going to have to appease not only the hardcore One Piece fans, which they're not going to, because the hardcore fans are going to be like, oh, Zolo's hair is not the right shade of green. Like, that's how One Piece fans think. They're going to get super pissed at the most minor little details, right? They not only have to try to appease the hardcore fans, they have to make it normie enough to appeal to a wider audience because, you know, they can't just, if they only count on the fans, they're never going to hit enough watch hours to make it worth their while. I'm going to be honest, I don't think Netflix at this point even believes they're going to succeed. And this is a wild theory. This is just completely me spitballing. This is something I've thought for a long time now. I think Netflix is playing a long game here. I think Netflix is counting on One Piece and a lot of these other shows to only marginally succeed. And here's why. I mentioned it before, but anime is incredibly cheap. It is ridiculously cheap for Netflix. It is one of the cheapest kinds of content they have on their platform. They literally spent, for reference, they spent $3.5 million for the entire 10 episodes of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. So what is that, like 4 hours of content or something like that, right? They spend literally $30 million per episode of Stranger Things. That's like, you know, huge difference. And, you know, there's a big difference in terms of like the watch hours they're getting right now. Cyberpunk Edgerunners had 15 million watch hours in the first week, whereas Stranger Things had, you know, in the hundreds of millions. But if you sort of do the ratios out in terms of watch time versus cost, Cyberpunk Edgerunners is actually pretty competitive in terms of cost and benefit. So imagine you could keep the same cost, but grow your audience of anime series so your watch time goes up. Think about that for a second. If you could pay $3.5 million, get a bigger jump in watch time, you're making bank. You're making absolute bank. Anime is super cheap. I think Netflix is trying to make these live action shows, draw in the normies with, you know, skin and flesh actors, get them hooked on anime, get them watching the cartoon anime, so they don't have to spend money on these big shows like Stranger Things in the long run. Because right now, Netflix is hemorrhaging cash. Netflix is like fucking open heart surgery, just gushing cash out their chest because they're realizing they can't keep going. They're basically producing content at a rate that is unsustainable. I mean, again, this is just a wild theory, but I think Netflix may be trying to push people to watch more anime because they make a lot of money off of it. Like I said, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which they spent $3.5 million on, is similar in cost benefit to Stranger Things. And if they could grow the audience by 2-3 times, holy fucking shit, they're going to be making bank. Now, assuming that is the case, which it may very well not be, that may not be Netflix's final goal of making all these anime live action. Maybe they just really want a show that'll, you know, do well. I don't think it's going to succeed for them because here's the thing. Anime, not to gatekeep, anime is not really for everyone. I tried really hard over the last summer to get my sister into anime because I love her and, you know, we love her to death here, but she is kind of normie. She's kind of the sweatshirt wearing, Starbucks pumpkin spice latte drinking white girl. She just told me, I showed her like One Punch Man, Attack on Titan, and Jujutsu Kaisen, and she just told me, you know, I like them. They weren't bad, but I would never watch them without, like you. I would never like watch them unless you were pushing me to. Which I think describes a lot of Americans and a lot of Westerners when it comes to watching anime. They don't necessarily think it's bad, but it's not really their cup of tea. And I think it's kind of what's keeping a lot of people away. I don't know. So it doesn't take a genius to realize that looking at the cost of a show like Cyberpunk Edgerunners or Beastars compared to the cost of literally, a single episode of One Piece, a single episode of the One Piece adaptation costs more than an entire anime series to make. Why is Netflix doing this? Like, Netflix should just take the entire budget they're putting into all these shitty remakes and just put them into original anime series. And I guarantee them, if Netflix, if you're watching this, I guarantee you will get more watch time that way. You will get more people watching anime because word of mouth is a more powerful motivator than whatever the fuck it is you're trying to do here with the live action stuff. And just let people, make good shows and let it disseminate, I don't think you're really doing anybody any favors because nobody wants the live action stuff. You could literally make hundreds of anime series off of the amount of money they're spending on these live action shitty remakes. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know. I might be crazy. Maybe you're super excited for the One Piece remake or whatever. I don't know. You must be crazy because I don't know. It's gonna be kind of bad. Yeah, and give me a like. And I talk a lot about anime and just anime related content on this channel. So, yeah, subscribe and whatever. And I will see you gamers next week. Bye-bye.